What's good, fellas? Welcome back to the channel. So the first round of the 2025 NBA draft went down last night. So let's talk about every single pick. I'm not the biggest fan of grading players, but I'm going to talk about the fit and just how I like the pick overall. So let's jump right into it with the first overall pick, Cooper Flagg to the Mavericks. Yeah, this was an easy one. The Mavericks couldn't go wrong, so I hoped. Cooper Flagg, he's going to be a two-way demon on day one. He is the full package. He does pretty much everything on a basketball court. He could defend. He's a defensive playmaker. He could score on all three levels. There is no major flaws in his game at all. The biggest thing for him going into Duke was the three-point shooting, and then he shot 38% from three. He shows improvement every single year. The dude's an absolute competitor. He wants to get better, and this is an absolute no-brainer. I think he steps onto an NBA court day one and is an all-star level player. So not much to really talk about for Cooper Flagg. The dude is an absolute dog. With the second overall pick, the San Antonio Spurs select Dylan Harper, a guy, if Cooper Flagg wasn't in this draft, would probably go number one. For only 19 years old, he shows so much maturity on the offensive side of the ball. He will be a three-level scorer. He gets downhill and is incredible near the rim. 6'6", nice for a modern guard. Now, I don't fully understand the fit between him and Fox because they're somewhat similar, but it's Dylan Harper. You're going to pick him regardless of the fit. Maybe the Spurs move on from Fox. I don't know, but Dylan Harper is incredible. I think he's going to be so good in this league, and he's the clear number 2 pick. Let's move on to VJ Edgecombe at number 3 to the Philadelphia 76ers. A lot of people thought it was going to be Ace Bailey, but he kind of had a falling out with the 76ers, declined workouts or canceled the workout, whatever it is. But I like VJ Edgecombe. Not the perfect fit. You have Maxey, you have Grimes, you have Jared McCain. So there is a lot of guards, but you're going to take the best guy available. Crazy athletic, could yam on a dude if he needs to. And overall, I'm just a really big fan of VJ Edgecombe. I love watching him, and I think this was the right pick at number 3. Can't go wrong with VJ Edgecombe, even though it's not a perfect fit. Next up, Con Knipple, drafted to the Hornets. Another guy who is really talented. I think this is a solid pick for the Hornets. Best shooter in this draft, and I think he can be a 50, 40, 90 player in this league. Very good three-point shooter, and the Hornets kind of just need some complementary pieces to Brandon Miller, to LaMelo Ball, so I think Con Knipple is going to be a really solid pick for the Hornets. Next up, we have Ace Bailey to the Jazz. I honestly love this pick. He didn't want to be a Jazz, but they said, I don't care, you're going to be a Jazz, and I like this pick. The skill upside and the talent upside for Ace Bailey at number 5, I think is really good. If he could work on his decision-making and his shot selection, when this dude gets in his bag, oh my God, tough shot after tough shot. He could get on a roll. He'll just keep hitting shots. The talent upside is there. And if this dude refines some of the things that he needs to that are easy to coach out, you could say, I think he's going to be a very good player in this league. The talent is there. The shooting is there. I love Ace Bailey going number 5. Next up, Trey Johnson to the Wizards at number 6. Another pick I really enjoy. I know they just got CJ McCollum, but that's going to be like a one-year thing. Trey Johnson alongside Con Knipple is one of the best shooters in this draft. A little bit, what's the word? I guess you could say inconsistent. You could say on the defensive side of the ball, but 3-level scoring is there. Sometimes there's a little bit of inconsistencies, but overall, I'm a really big fan of Trey Johnson, and I think this was a good pick by the Wizards at number 6. Next up, Jeremiah Fears at number 7. I'm not the biggest fan of this pick. I'm not the biggest fan of Jeremiah Fears myself. As I said with Trey Johnson, he is really inconsistent. Jeremiah Fears is really inconsistent on the offensive side of the ball. Did not shoot a three-point shot well, and the defense isn't really there. I worry about his size too. Now, he's not a bad player, don't get me wrong, but I worry about how he could elevate his game to the next level. But the upside is there because if he could work on his shot, get consistent in the paint and in the mid-range, he could be a really tricky player to deal with on offense. So it's not my favorite pick. I don't hate it, though. Next up, Igor Demin. Ooh, the Nets are definitely the biggest losers in this draft. They had 5 first-round picks and somehow messed it up. Igor Demin could have been there at like 21, 22 when you guys had your other picks. I don't understand this pick. Yeah, he's 6'9". He's a great passer. He can maybe facilitate an offense, but the shooting was bad. The shooting was really bad. Can't shoot the 3, and overall was just a really bad shooter. I don't like this pick for the Nets. You could have got a guy like Kaman Maluach who would have fit him perfectly, and you could have gotten, this is the biggest problem for me, you could have got Igor Demin later in the draft. You have 5 picks. You could have traded up if you were worried about him leaving. So I think this is a huge, huge reach for the Nets. He's not a bad player. Don't get me wrong. He's not a bad player, but you got to score the ball. Like this, the NBA in the modern era, you got to be able to shoot and score, and I worry about his shooting a ton. But he's 6'9". He could pass the ball. If he could somehow figure out his shot, he could be dangerous, but I think this is a really big reach by Brooklyn. Next up, Colin Murray-Boyle is selected to the Raptors. Not a bad pick, not my favorite pick, but he's a really good defender. He has size. But I would have maybe liked to see the Raptors go with Kamal Maluach there. I think the Suns got an absolute steal. We're just going to get onto him. But Colin Murray-Boyles, solid pick. Nothing crazy. Nothing too bad. Decent for the Raptors. They get more size and defense. Number 10, Kamal Maluach to the Suns. I think this is an incredible pick. I really, really like this for the Suns. The Suns and Phoenix came into this draft with the worst big man room I've ever seen. They had the worst center play last season. And then they trade for Mark Williams and then draft Kamal Maluach. We'll see how that works, but they have the big man depth now. They have it. They have 2 young guys. And Kamal Maluach gets a lot of Rudy Gobert comp for good reason. He is a fantastic rim protector, and I think the offensive game, there's potential there to tap into his offensive game. So I think there is something he could work on the offensive side of the ball, but it's not like bad. It's not like Rudy Gobert, who you can't do much. Kamal Maluach has the potential to be a solid offensive player. He could score in the paint, though. He could score in the paint, but his perimeter shooting, it's just not really there. He can't really create for himself, but the potential is there. The jump shot isn't awful, and I like the Suns getting him at number 10. Really, really good defensive player and the best defensive center and overall center in this draft. Next up, Cedric Coward going to the Grizzlies. Another guy who I like, got size, can score the ball, can defend. He's pretty well-rounded. He's kind of like a combo guard, I think, for the Grizzlies. So they move on from Desmond Bane and get a somewhat similar profile. I'm not like super ultra tapped into the draft. I know a little bit, but Cedric Coward, maybe I should know a little bit more. But he's a good combo guard, I think, and he'll be good for the Grizzlies. I think that's a good overall pick. Noah SNU, drafted to the Bulls. Again, not my favorite. I just think there's other guys they could have gone with. Carter Bryant is there. I don't know if he's just going to fit with Chicago and in the Bulls. I'm just not a big fan of this pick. It's not bad, but there's a lot of things he needs to work on. The shot also isn't really there. So not the biggest fan of the Noah SNU draft. Next up, excuse me, I'm like stumbling over my words. I'm sorry, people. I'm going to try to get this all done in one go. I'm not trying to make a bajillion cuts. Next up, Derek Queen to the Pelicans. Again, not my favorite pick. You already have Zion. I'm not sure how Derek Queen's going to fit with this team. And you gave up a really, really good pick to the Hawks to get into the number 13 position. They traded an unprotected first-round pick where the Hawks will get the best of Milwaukee or the Pelicans. So the Hawks can end up with like a top 5 pick next year if the Pelicans are bad, if Milwaukee decides to blow it up. So that's like a top 5, at worst, maybe top 10 pick that the Pelicans are giving up to get Derek Queen, who is not a perfect fit for this roster. So I don't really like this for them. Next up, Carter Bryant. This is a really good pick by the Spurs. Class organization and probably had the best draft. Now, the numbers are not flying off the board. That's not insane, but he reminds me of OG Anunoby so much. He could guard almost every position. He has size. He has physicality, athleticism. He could shoot the 3 ball. I believe he shot 37% for Arizona last year. And I could just see him developing into a really good 2-way 3-and-D type player in this league. The OG Anunoby comp is like genuinely perfect because they're really good defenders. They have size. They have the athleticism. And I feel like they both get underrated in terms of like how strong they are. So I love Carter Bryant at number 14. Thomas Sorber at 15. Solid for OKC. They don't really need too much. Nice backup big. They dealt with a lot of injuries throughout the season. Chet was hurt. Hartenstein was hurt. So backup big. Good pick. I like it. Thomas Sorber is a good player. Can protect the rim. I like this for OKC. Not else I really need to say. Sheesh. Nothing against Yang Hansan. I don't want to butcher his name, but this is a crazy pick by Portland. A lot of people are saying, oh, he could be the next Jokic. Damn, I want to see it happen. But he could have been there in like the middle of the second round. So this is a huge reach Huge reach. He's been playing in China a lot. He needs to develop, but this is just a crazy reach. This is just a crazy, crazy reach from Portland. You drafted Donovan Clingan last year. You could have gotten him like 50, like 40, 45 overall. So this is just a crazy reach in my opinion. Juwan Beringer is going to the Timberwolves. Again, not my favorite pick. They were going to go big man. They go with Beringer. He needs to develop a lot, and I'm just not sure how he's going to fit in this team because they're going to try to obviously win now. We'll see what they do with Rudy Gobert, but a lot Beringer needs to learn. He's still young, 18 years old, but I'm not sure he's a perfect fit for the Timberwolves right now. Next up, Walter Clayton Jr. at 18th overall. I like this a little bit more than a lot of people. A lot of people are kind of iffy on it, but I honestly love the Jazz trading up and getting Walter Clayton. He can knock down shots. Yeah, he's not too physical, not the best defender, but him and Ace Bailey, can knock down shots. And at this point, the Jazz need some scores. Maybe they'll move on from Markkanen. Maybe Walker Kessler will be moved on, So this team's going to look a lot different heading into next year. They have a lot of guys on one-year deals, so this team could change a lot, and I think Ace Bailey and Walter Clayton are nice players to really start this new-ish rebuild, I guess you could say. I think they had a really solid draft. I'm higher on Walter Clayton than some people are. Next up, Nolan Traore for the Nets. Another guy who is solid, but he's kind of similar to Igor Demon. They like to facilitate, they like to run the offense, but they can't really score. They don't have a great shot to him, so I just don't understand this by the Nets. You're getting two similar players, two guards. I think they really messed up this draft, in my opinion. Next up, another guy who I really, really like, Kasparas Jakučionis, falling to the Heat. He could do really everything on the offensive side of the ball. I think this is an absolute steal at 20. I think the Heat are one of the big winners in this draft. They didn't need to trade up. They stayed where they were. Like, why did the Nets just not draft Kasparas Jakučionis? He'll give you a different archetype than Igor Demon, and he's better than Nolan Traore, in my opinion. I think Kasparas Jakučionis is going to have a really, really big role for this Miami Heat team, and I think he is a very good pick in general. One of the steals of the draft. Next up, Will Riley to the Wizards. Not a bad pick, not fantastic, not a great defender, still can shoot. I'm kind of indifferent to this pick. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I like Will Riley as a player, and two Illinois guys went back-to-back. That's kind of cool. Next up, the Nets go with Drake Powell. This is probably my favorite pick from them. He could defend the ball. He could sometimes shoot the three. Can't really facilitate his own offense and create his own shot, but the defense is there. He could be 3-and-D in the league. I like this pick for the Nets, but I don't know, man. They really butchered their draft, in my opinion. Asa Newell to the Hawks. I like this. Another guy who could defend. He could shoot. And to trade back or trade your 13th overall pick and get that really big, really nice pick from the Pelicans and get Asa Newell at 23, you traded back and still got him. I think that's a really solid pick from the Hawks. Another team who I think had a really solid draft. So I like that for the Hawks. Next up, we have Nick Clifford to the Kings. Another guy who I like. Started really slow at Colorado and then transferred to Colorado State and had a really, really good senior year. Overall, I like this for the Kings. He can bring a little bit of everything, physicality, intensity. He could score. I like this for Nick Clifford and the Kings. Next up, Jace Richardson, another guy who I really, really like going to the Magic. This is almost a seamless fit. A lot of teams worried about his size because he is 6'3", 185, but he could shoot the three. He could create his own shot. He's a solid 3-level scorer. I think this is a perfect fit for the Magic. They were one of the worst three-point shooting teams ever last season. You get Desmond Bane and you get Jace Richardson. I think this is a fantastic pick for the Magic. Next up, Ben Saraf goes to the Nets. Also similar to Igor Demon. I mean, we're taking Igor Demon, you're taking Nolan Traore, and now you're taking Ben Saraf. Three guards who have similar profiles. They're not the best shooters. They like to pass and facilitate the offense. Dude, I don't know, man. The Nets are the Nets. They're going to do the Nets. And they get Danny Wolf at 27. Not a bad pick. Can space the floor. He's 7 foot. He could shoot the three. Yeah, I just... Nets, man. You guys suck. Hugo Gonzalez to the Celtics. Another pick I'm not huge on. He's been overseas for a while now. He's only 18, but he can't really shoot, and the Celtics need shooters. I don't see him really developing a shot. I don't really like this for the Celtics, but maybe, holy shit, excuse me. Maybe they find something in his shot and he just blossoms. I'm not really too sure. Next up, the 29th pick in the first round, Liam McNeely to Charlotte. I think Charlotte had a really good draft. I mean, you got Con Knippel, 4th overall, and then you get Liam McNeely. Both can hit shots. I think Liam McNeely, 38% from the field, but I feel like he'll develop his shot and get better. I think he's a guy you could coach and become a great shooter. And at 29, that's just solid value. Next up, we have Yannick Konat. I can't pronounce the name, but he's from France. Excuse me. He's from France, I believe. Or not France. I forget where he's from, but he's played for Penn State. A lot of people were kind of shocked with this pick. He's not bad. I kind of like it. Maybe a little bit of a reach, but at 30, you can't go wrong for the Clippers. I'm not the biggest draft nerd. I try to do a little bit of research for every player, but I'm not like the biggest nerd. Some of my favorite picks, I like Trey Johnson at number 6. I like Kaman Maluach at 10. Who else? Carter Bryant at 14 is really solid. Kasparis Uchonis is good. I like Greg Powell and Asa Newell. Jason Richardson, Nick Clifford, Liam McNeely. I like the draft. Up and down picks. Some I liked, some I didn't really like. We could talk about the some I really didn't like. Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, Hansung Young or Young Hansan, What else? Nolan Traore. It's just like I don't know what the Nets are doing. You get Igor Demon, Nolan Traore, and you get Ben Saraf, who are just very similar guards. I don't get what they're doing here. Hugo Gonzalez isn't my favorite pick, but overall, really fun first round of the draft. I'm excited to see who gets picked today. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. As I said, I'm not a draft nerd. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. Peace out.